Here's the Jeep and the minivan right next to it. Let's see if Phil, well, probably won't. Yep, there it was. What was that? So something like that. Yeah, you guys see that? Minivan, we'll come back to it and I guess kind of go from there. I'll do some research with that.
Several days later.
Took the minivan home and this morning I will be running errands in this minivan, and I just got a low tire pressure light. 29 psi, where the other ones are 31, 31, and 32. So it's not too bad. I got my heated seat on and it's working. And I took a closer look at this minivan. I will actually show you all the options once it's kind of done. But you guys should know, because you're watching this video now, that it had a intermittent cutout issue. And what I'm thinking is, it was just really low on gas, which it was. Like the needle was all the way down and the gas light was on. And after I filled it up, it cut out twice on me. But I think that's because the fuel pump just didn't have enough time to pump itself up with gas. Because, you know, what is it, half a mile from the lot is all I drove. But yesterday, I took it home and it did not cut out once. It actually runs really, really well. Like, engine is smooth, transmission is smooth. So I'll be running errands in this thing today and we'll see if it'll cut out again. But so far, it's actually really, really good. Bad news, guys. Looks like it's doing it again. And it's weird because I've done maybe 15, 20 miles now with absolutely no issues. And now it did it like 3 times as I'm on the freeway doing 60 miles per hour. So maybe there is an issue, outstanding issue. Oh well. Coming up to a red light and I want to see if this thing is gonna die on me. So if it doesn't die on me, what I'm seeing is traction control light, ABS light, brake light come on, and then the speedometer kind of drops and then it catches itself again. From what I've seen, RPM stay stable, all the other gauges stay stable. So my guess is, what if it's a wheel speed sensor or something of that sort? But really weird though, because the radio turned off also when it happened, and the odometer flashes kind of, you know, dims out a little bit, which is usually a sign of bad alternator. But the van literally stood parked for like 3 or 4 weeks and it started on its own, so I don't know. A little weird, a little sketchy, because this van is heavy and I probably won't be able to push it. Definitely got to do more research. I was hoping and thought it was all done, but at least it hasn't died yet. So I mean, it could be a wheel sensor, honestly, or a few of them. So like speed sensor. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research.
A few moments later.
Funny, the longer I drive this thing, so at first it would like flash and then turn off, and then the traction control came on, and then the other 3 lights would start to flash. Now the ESP BAS light is on and only the other 2 are flashing.
Several days later.
I have done almost 80 miles on this minivan, and it will be over 80 miles when I get to the lot. It'll be probably closer to 90 miles. So mechanically it runs really well. Like, it shifts good, motor makes good power. There's no issues in regards to transmission and motor. And the weird thing that I've been kind of like gathering and learning, I've been thinking maybe I should just order those wheel hubs, replace them, see how it goes, take that risk. You know, it's like $60, $65 plus my labor. But since I've been driving it, I've noticed a really, really weird pattern. So when I have the radio on, this touch screen is on and working, that's when those lights come on. And when those lights come on, it kills the radio, which is really, really weird. So right now I've done maybe 15, 20 miles on this van with no radio on, and it hasn't happened yet. And again, right now I'm driving and that issue isn't happening. So as weird as it is, what if it's not related to ABS sensors or wheel speed sensors or something of that sort? What if it's something related to the radio? And by that, it could be an amp that's going out, or something related to the radio where it draws power, and maybe there's a short of some kind, and then it like kills the ABS system. Maybe they're, you know, neighbors, and it kills it for a split second, and that's what's giving me issues. But like right now, with no radio on, absolutely no issues. So I guess stay tuned. I'm gonna keep thinking. I'm gonna let these gears turn and see what I come up with.
Several days later.
It is late into the evening, and this is the old switch for the Chrysler minivan. And as you guys can see, this button is broken. So I purchased a new switch. The problem is, so this is the complete one. I completely pulled the old switch apart and the new switch. The new switch came in with this motherboard. If you guys can see, this one has 3 connectors right here and a whole bunch of connectors right here. The old switch has 3 connectors here, but they are right next to each other. Not like this one, which is next to each other and then up one. And also, the old switch does not have any connectors here. So when I originally tried to connect the new switch, it did absolutely nothing. So I pulled it apart. I tried to switch over just the motherboard onto this new one, but it had a whole bunch of additional connectors on the back end right here. So the old one was essentially just a rubber piece like this with a whole bunch of buttons to kind of push and it would work. This one came in something like this. I don't even remember. I feel like my brain is fried. Or it was something like this. But basically a huge difference between the old one and this new one that they sent me. So next I thought, okay, maybe I could just disconnect the button and put it on here. So I did that, and a whole bunch of these plastic pieces fell apart and all of this. So I was like, okay, what did I just do and how in the world am I going to put it back together? So I started poking around. Thankfully, I figured it out, and then I thought, okay, so this one snapped in here and it seems like it's just one piece, so I can't replace the button. Long story short, I literally pulled everything apart, reused these old connectors, reused these old guys, pretty much swapped everything from the new one to the old one just so that I have this additional button. Now, I think and hope everything is good. All of my buttons work, everything has the clicking sound and whatnot. Now, whenever I get to the lot next time, I'm gonna hook this up, and I really, really hope it works, because if it doesn't, I literally just spent like an hour on this for nothing.
The next day.
Moment of truth, I suppose. Let's see if it works. Please work. Yes. Yes. Oh, that is so good. Okay. Let's unlock. Left mirror. Yep. Oh man, I am so happy. But, yay me now. So that's still happening, but now we have a check engine light after 150 miles of driving. But it did start a little bit funny today, so who knows, maybe like low battery or something. But I'm not gonna mess with it because I have new wheel hubs and bearings coming in for this side. I'll replace those and then kind of go from there.
Several days later.
Yesterday, I replaced the front wheel hubs and bearings and all the ABS sensors on the minivan. I will not be putting it in this video just to keep it a little bit shorter, but if you want to see how the job is done, make sure you check out the channel and find the video there. Now the goal is to daily drive the minivan, see if the issue comes back. If it does not, we're gonna go through detail, take it through emissions, smog, DQ, whatever you guys wanna call in your state, and then sell the minivan. Well guys, I am kind of stumped. I replaced the wheel bearings, wheel hubs, ABS sensors, and still getting the same issue. So there's our ABS module right there, and my goal right now is to unscrew it, basically disconnect this electrical connection that's on the side, clean it up if it needs cleaning, put it back together and continue driving it. If that doesn't work, then we're getting a new ABS module, and it's gonna go to the dealer to get it reprogrammed. I'll do the work, but dealer will have to program the new part, and then we're gonna sell it, because I want this thing to be as nice as it can be for the next owner to not have a headache. Of course, I'm gonna do what I can. If I can't figure it out, it will be sold as is. There's our ABS module. A little bit difficult to get to the bolts at the bottom. Top were pretty easy. So I slid it off. Now I'm gonna disconnect the electrical connection right there and see what's going on inside. Here's my ABS module. Really struggle getting this one out. And honestly, there's not much space to do literally anything. So now we have a part number just in case I need to replace it. So what I'm gonna do is just take a flashlight, look in here, see if I see anything weird, any issues, any clear signs. So that could be a sign right there. Looks like a spider web or something. See, I don't know how important it is, but having that on an electrical connection is definitely not helpful. With a clean rag, I wipe down those metal rods that are sticking out. And now I think I'm just gonna put everything back together and hope for the best. All done, everything is put back together. You'll need a T20, either screwdriver. Well, basically this is what I used. So if you guys are pulling out the ABS module, T20 is what you're gonna need. And this is what I used.
2 hours later.
Unfortunately, nothing has changed. It's going really, really crazy today. We'll see if it's gonna do it. You guys hear that beeping? Yeah, she's not liking it. So, next time I get behind a computer, we're ordering a new ABS module.
The next day.
Guys, I am so determined to get this minivan fixed that I'm taking it in to get fully detailed, because I believe in myself that I will fix it, that it will be nearly perfect, and that I will get top dollar for it. And the other thing is, so I drove it, everything was going nuts, everything was going wild, and then I went to a gas station to put more gas in it. I put more gas in it, went to a store. From the store, I went to my dad's work. From my dad's work, I came to the lot. So that was about 20 miles, 25 miles of driving, and not a single peep. So the van has been parked for maybe 2 days or so, and I'm hoping it could be fixed. Slightly assuming that maybe, just maybe, when I pulled the ABS module out and disconnected it, the van needed a few miles of driving to kind of relearn, maybe, I don't know, do some electrical stuff. So right now, no issues, so I'm moving forward, gonna get it detailed, and then of course I will continue to drive it. And if maybe 100 miles of driving, those lights don't come back on, then we're gonna say, sweet, fixed it, and I'm gonna sell it. I made it to my detailer. Let me open the door so you could take a look. But I mean, this thing is filthy. Look at that. Just, yeah, filthy. So we're gonna leave it here, have them detail it, and we'll pick it up in a few days.
Several days later.
Guys, it's early morning. Yesterday, I picked up the minivan from the detail. They did a good job. And then once I got to the lot, the tire pressure monitoring system light was on, and it showed that there was 3 tires that were like 2 psi lower than what they needed to be, which it showed before, so like this isn't new. And I went and tried to pump up the tires. One, kind of pinched my finger, if you guys will see that, busted that. And then I broke this part right here. But you see how it's all already like fragile and whatnot. Basically, this tire let all the air out. So it's another project. So I'm using the Challenger, and I have a jack inside here. We're gonna try to lift up this minivan, take the tire off, and get this taken care of, because minivan is pretty much ready to rock and roll and go to a new home. Man, that thing looks gnarly. Dang. Hope it didn't damage the tire. Tire's all done. All done. Now let's go back to Les Schwab and have them reprogram the sensor. Yeah, $65 mistake. Okay, there we go. There's our sensor. Yep. It's showing that the rear tire is at 1 psi. So that's what we need to fix. Right there.
A few moments later.
I am like 30 seconds away from the lot. And no more light. Yay! I need to take this car through the car wash and continue to monitor that ABS brake light issue that we're trying to figure out. But honestly, so far it hasn't happened. So maybe cleaning the connectors, retightening everything really did the trick. I don't know, but it hasn't happened more or less since I did that. Time we take this thing through the car wash, then stop by a store, then take it through DQ. If still no ABS, ESP, whatever lights come on, then it's going up for sale today.
2 hours later.
Well guys, minivan is ready to go. Looks pretty nice. It has all the options. Remote start, heated seats front and center, 2 DVD players, I mean power, like everything I think for this year, it has it all. Guys, figured out and fixed the minivan. Take your guesses now, because I don't think you're gonna guess what the issue was with the traction control, ESP, ABS, basically all of those lights. Take your guesses now. Okay, take a look. What is different? What is new? That's it! Guys, it was the darn battery on this thing. So I was doing more research trying to figure out what it is, and then somebody said, hey, it could be the battery. If it falls under a certain percentage of like voltage or whatnot and cold cranking amps, it could be tripping the computer up and you could be getting those lights. So what do? I hook up my battery testing machine that I have, and this is a 800 cold cranking amp battery, and it showed at like 620. And what I noticed is when I daily drive the van after the battery charges up, there's no more lights. It doesn't beep, there's no nothing. And I was like, okay, what if it is the battery? So then I got a new battery. It measures where it needs to measure. And I've been driving the last 2-3 days with absolutely no sign of those lights. They never came up since I put a new battery in it. So guys, with that being said, minivan is done. Who would have thought a new battery or an older battery would be the problem with that? But it's solved. I mean, it hasn't happened again. So if you have this issue, get your battery tested, get it measured, and try the battery. It's a lot cheaper than a new module, because a new module is like 300 bucks, plus you have to take it into the dealer to get it programmed. But a new battery, $100, no more issues. I'm happy with this one.
Several days later.
Take a look. I no longer have the minivan.
In the original video, I posted, can you make money on minivans? Because I know there's followers of mine that are trying to flip cars, different various cars. I have done very well on every single minivan that I've had, and although I don't do too many of them, I haven't lost money on any minivans. And this one's no exception. So this is part 2. If you guys haven't seen the first part, please check it out. It is on the channel. Minivan is sold. We're gonna run through the numbers. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what I did to it and exactly how much money I made on this minivan. But before we jump into that, the previous video that I posted, I told you guys I figured out why those lights were coming on. There is one person who guessed it correctly. It was the battery. I bought a new battery. I did about 100 miles with the new battery. Absolutely no issues. And I sold the minivan. So now we get to go through the numbers. So winning bid for this minivan was $3,000. I paid $275 in fees, and this minivan was purchased in Seattle. So I paid $150 to get it shipped down here. I wired the money, so I paid $25 for the wire. I bought new wheel hubs. That was my initial guess. Maybe it's like ABS sensors or whatnot. So I paid $65 for those. For a new master switch, which was $22. I paid $160 for the detail, and I paid $73 for a new TPMS sensor because I was putting air in it, and well, you guys saw what happened. And I put a new battery in it, which was $90. I went for like a very top-end battery that had more cold cranking amps, just because I was afraid, you know, if it drops below a certain cold cranking amp, it would trigger those lights again. So I wanted to get something that had decent reserve. So it's $90 for that. So total for the minivan was $3,860, giving me a profit of $1,540 because I sold the minivan for $5,400. And this flip was more or less pretty straightforward, if not for messing with you know, the issue that I had at hand and not, you know, spending a lot of time trying to figure it out. That literally delayed me by about a month, if not more, just because, you know, I have other cars that I was working on. This is the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in another video.